Welcome to the latest edition of Kernels from the Cornfield. No husk, no holes, no shucks. News with a dash of commentary to spice up your fare for Monday, January 5th, 2015. Can you believe the last Kernels was back in August? Unfortunately, due to my health conditions, Kernels has had to be on hiatus. While I will continue to focus on a video version, on those weekdays my breathing issue prevents, there will be the text-only version. Now on with my take of the headlines and current events. Fate of citizen journalism. Many members of CNN's I Report community are wondering if the news network has decided to pull the plug on its experiment with user submissions for inclusion and use on air. Check out my take on CNN's new website design rolled out over the weekend that has members wondering about the fate of iReport. CNN signals curtain call on citizen journalism. New year, new Congress. With the first workday of the new year came the seating of a new Congress, dominated by the Republican Party. With the Senate now in control of the GOP, the big question is whether a clear division in control of government will work or continue in the vein of a lot of talk and not much action. Will President Barack Obama, in his sixth year, pull a Bill Clinton and find a way to meet somewhere in the middle with the opposition party in control of the legislative branch, or will he continue his go-it-alone policy? Will Republicans be able to keep more obstinate members in check and find working solutions which will not meet the fate of the veto pen? American voters approved divided government with the 2014 midterm elections. Now we can only hope both Democrats and Republicans got the message that voters want both sides, Congress and the President, to work together for the good of the nation. On an aside, seems some of the more extreme conservative members of the new House of Representatives want to unseat House Speaker John Boehner. I don't see this happening. Time to work together. Boston bombing trial. The trial of the alleged surviving Boston Marathon bomber got underway today as jury selection began. Facing more than 30 counts, the death penalty is on the table. Once the jury is seated and the trial begins, in earnest, expect to hear and read much more on this tragic event. Not the polar plunge. It was not the traditional plunge by human polar bears into frigid waters. The stock market took a major hit today, losing over 300 points at close as oil prices continued to plummet, dropping below $50 per barrel. The continued drop in gasoline prices has consumers loving it. But those playing the stock market are concerned there is no bottom price in sight for oil. Fears are that other industries may also be in for a roller coaster ride. No combat role. Right. The Pentagon confirmed today what anyone with minimal mental ability has known all along. U.S. service members sent to Iraq as advisors are in the middle of combat. While President Obama can continue to play with words, the reality is our men and women in uniform are very much in the middle of a war and are in combat zones. There are no sidelines in war. The Pentagon noted that 320 troops stationed in Anbar province are in direct and sustained artillery fire. Though the barrage has yet to find Vader, it begs the question, how soon before the Islamic State missile shell hits, sending American soldiers home in body bags? Focus change. From police abuse and brutality to police targeted is how the focus in the news has changed in a matter of days as 2014 came to a close. The number of police officers killed by gunfire was the highest in 2014 than decades. The killing of 2 New York City police officers sitting in their squad car marked the change in tone, and news reports from overzealous actions and perhaps criminal of some police officers, zeroing in on black citizens to confirm that the bullseye was on officers. Reality is, both sides need focus. Both issues need to be in the news. Miracle Child. A 7-year-old girl, Sailor Gutzler, was the lone survivor when the small plane carrying her parents, sister, and cousin crashed in rural Kentucky. Excuse me. Over the weekend, the young girl managed, injured and bruised, to make her way through the cold and rugged terrain to a farmhouse to seek help. Who says there are not angels watching over us? Ebola scare to flu epidemic. During the late summer and fall, all the headlines were screaming about the Ebola virus threat to national security and the ability of the U.S. medical scene to protect us. Now with the new year, reality is displacing the scare. Influenza has become epidemic, claiming lives, especially of children, across the nation. Flu continues to be one of the top killers, not only in the US of A, but the world. While the Ebola virus is nothing to sneeze at, we need to not let the latest scare blind us to the real dangers among us. Winter lashes out. After a few early snows in late October and early November, winter so far has been more like fall. That is not the case today. In the Cornfield and across the nation, winter is hitting hard to regain its rightful control of our weather. Even in places like Las Vegas, snow and bitter cold are hitting residents hard. The current cold front is expected to thrust as far south as Florida. Real air temps deep below zero are being registered from the Dakotas south and eastward. Snow is starting to fall and pile up. Keep safe and stay warm. Sports losses. The sports world, as well as many who are not fans, are in mourning today at the loss of 3 too soon. Over the weekend, ESPN sports anchor Stuart Scott lost his battle with cancer at 49. His groundbreaking coverage of the sports arena is now silent. 2 of America's most promising and talented skiers were buried by an avalanche in Austria today while doing what they loved most, being on the slope. Bryce Hassel and Ronnie Burlack, Olympic stars of tomorrow, both perished as 4 other skiers made it out of harm's way. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and friends of these 3 men. May they rest in peace. That's what caught my attention for Monday, January 5th, 2015. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of Kernels from the Cornfield. I am Mark Ivy. Good evening.